Who are you when nobody is watching? Not your name, not your profession, not your achievements, not the version of yourself you show to other people. If your appearance changed, would you still be you? If your beliefs changed, would you still be you? And if every memory you have disappeared tonight, who would wake up tomorrow morning? Most of us spend our entire lives protecting an identity we have never seriously examined. But 2,500 years ago, the Buddha revealed something deeply unsettling and incredibly liberating. The person you believe yourself to be may not exist in the way you think. And understanding this does not erase you. It frees you. From childhood, you began collecting descriptions of yourself. Your family gave you a name. Teachers told you whether you were intelligent, difficult, talented, or ordinary. Other people decided whether you were attractive, successful, lovable, or disappointing. Eventually, these descriptions became an invisible biography inside your mind. I am confident. I am shy. I am successful. I always fail. I am a good person. I am damaged. And once you believe one of these stories, you begin protecting it. You search for evidence that confirms it. You reject anything that threatens it. You may even remain trapped in pain because the pain has become part of who you think you are. But are these stories really you? Or are they thoughts that have been repeated so often that they now feel permanent? Imagine someone criticizes you. The words may last only 5 seconds, but your suffering can continue for 5 days. Why? Because the criticism does not simply touch an action. It threatens your identity. You think, how could they say that about me? They don't understand who I am. I need to prove them wrong. The mind immediately builds a courtroom. It becomes the accused, the lawyer, the witness, and the judge. It collects old memories. It imagines future arguments. It rehearses what you should have said. The original moment is over, but the identity keeps the conflict alive. This is why a small comment can create enormous pain. You are not only defending what happened, you are defending a picture of yourself. The Buddha examined human experience through what are commonly called the 5 aggregates. The first is form, your physical body. The second is feeling, experiences of pleasure, pain, or neutrality. The third is perception, the mind's ability to recognize and label things. The fourth is mental formations, intentions, habits, emotions, and reactions. The fifth is consciousness, the basic knowing of an experience. Together, these processes create what you call me. But the Buddha asked us to examine each one carefully. Is the body permanent? No, it changes from moment to moment. Are feelings permanent? No. Pleasure becomes discomfort. Sadness becomes calm. Excitement becomes boredom. Are your perceptions, habits, and thoughts permanent? No. They change with experience, age, health, relationships, and circumstances. Even consciousness continually arises in dependence on conditions. So where, within these changing processes, can we find a permanent and independent self? This teaching is often misunderstood. The Buddha was not simply saying, you do not exist. He was asking us to look directly at experience and notice that nothing within it can honestly be controlled or possessed as a permanent self. There is a conventional you. You have a name. You have responsibilities. Your choices have consequences. But the solid, fixed, unchanging person you constantly defend cannot be found. Think of a river. We give it one name, but the water is never the same. The river exists, yet it is not a permanent object. It is an ongoing process shaped by rain, soil, gravity, temperature, and time. You are like that river. You exist, but as a living process, not as a frozen identity. The mind may resist this idea because identity creates an illusion of safety. Even a painful identity can feel safer than uncertainty. You may say, I am the person who was betrayed. I am the person nobody appreciates. I am the successful one. I am spiritually advanced. I am always the victim. Without these stories, the mind asks, then who am I? That question can feel frightening. But notice something important. If you are not permanently defined by your past, then your past is no longer your prison. If anger is not who you are, anger can pass. If fear is not who you are, fear can be observed. If failure is not who you are, failure becomes an event, not a life sentence. The absence of a fixed self is not emptiness in the hopeless sense, it is possibility. Suppose someone leaves you. Pain naturally appears. There may be sadness, loneliness, confusion, and grief. Buddhism does not ask you to pretend those feelings are not present, but then the mind adds an identity. I am unlovable. Everyone abandons me. I will always be alone. The feeling was real. The identity was constructed, and once the identity is constructed, every new experience is interpreted through it. A delayed message becomes rejection. A disagreement becomes abandonment. A quiet evening becomes proof that nobody cares. This is how the mind transforms temporary pain into continuing suffering. The goal is not to destroy your personality. It is to stop turning every passing experience into a definition of who you are. A thought appears in the mind, and we immediately say, I am thinking. An emotion appears, and we say, I am angry. But look more carefully. Did you consciously choose your next thought before it appeared? If you could completely control your mind, would you choose anxiety at 3 in the morning? Would you choose jealousy, resentment, or painful memories? Thoughts arise because of conditions. A sound, a memory, exhaustion, hunger, fear, or an old habit can produce a thought. The thought appears. It remains briefly. Then, it disappears or is replaced by another thought. You are not required to believe everything that passes through your awareness. A thought is an event, not an identity. Anger is present, fear is present, sadness is present, but you do not need to add, this is who I am. When the belief in a solid self becomes less rigid, life becomes lighter. Criticism can be examined without destroying you. Praise can be enjoyed without becoming dependent on it. Failure can teach you without defining you. Success can arrive without becoming another identity you must constantly protect. This does not make you passive. It makes you more honest. Instead of asking, what does this say about me? You can ask, what happened? What conditions created this? What can be learned? What response would reduce suffering? You stop organizing the entire universe around the protection of me. And strangely, this allows you to respond with greater wisdom and compassion. The next time a powerful emotion appears, pause. Do not immediately say, I am angry, or I am anxious. Instead, say, anger is present, anxiety is present, sadness is present. Notice the difference. I am angry turns anger into an identity. Anger is present recognizes it as a temporary experience. Then observe 3 things. First, where do you feel it in the body? Perhaps there is pressure in the chest, heat in the face, or tension in the stomach. Second, what story is the mind creating? Maybe it says, they don't respect me, or something terrible will happen. Third, notice that both the sensation and the story are changing. They may become stronger. They may become weaker. They may disappear and return. You do not need to push the experience away. Simply watch it as a process. Not permanent, not completely controllable, not a fixed self. If you are not your body, your feelings, your memories, your thoughts, or your social identity, then who are you? The mind wants a final answer. It wants another label to hold. But perhaps the need for a label is the very trap the Buddha wanted us to see. The purpose of the teaching is not to replace a negative identity with a more spiritual identity. It is not to say, I have discovered my true, superior self. It is to see that every identity is limited. Every label captures only one moment of a constantly changing life. You are not a finished object. You are an unfolding process of causes, conditions, choices, and awareness. You have spent years building an identity from memories, opinions, achievements, wounds, and expectations. But none of these things can completely contain you. Your past happened, but it is not happening now. Your emotions are real, but they are not permanent. Your thoughts appear, but they are not commands. Your identity can function in the world without becoming a prison. So the next time life threatens the person you think you are, pause and ask, what exactly am I trying to protect? Look closely. You may discover that beneath the story, there is only an experience arising and passing away. And in the moment you stop clinging to a fixed identity, you do not lose yourself. You lose the cage. If this teaching helped you see yourself differently, subscribe to Tyar Dhamma for more Buddhist wisdom on the mind, suffering, and inner freedom. And remember, you do not need to become someone else to be free. You need to see clearly what you were never required to carry.